Hey guys, this is Mel, and I'm here to talk about Supernatural, episode 1320, titled Unfinished Business, which premiered Thursday, April 26, 2018 on the CW. I'm recording on April 28th, so huge spoiler alert, sorry, if you haven't seen the episode already, please go do so first, then come back and see what I have to say about the episode. My other video reminders are up on screen. Take a moment to remind yourselves of those. I'm going to try to do this in 10 minutes, so let's start the 10-minute clock, and let's begin with what happened in this episode. So timeline-wise, Dean says it's been 2 weeks, since the events of 1319, or since the events of Gabriel skipping out on them, I believe. So there's that. Huge episode reminder is the fact that we see many familiar faces. We get the return of Gabriel. We have Mary and Jack all the way in the Apocalypse world, as well as Kevin Tran as well. So moving on to a huge... two different storylines I picked up for the episode. First one being Gabriel's revenge, and the second one dealing with the events of the Apocalypse world. So with Gabriel's revenge, we meet Loki and his sons from Norse mythology. We also get the return of Richard Spade Jr., not only directing the episode and playing Gabriel, but also playing Loki as well. So the story goes that Gabriel saved Loki from Odin long ago, and in return, when Gabriel needed to escape heaven, Loki offered Gabriel his face and taught Gabriel how to be the trickster. In exchange for this, Gabriel had to leave his family forever, no going back to being an archangel. So that was kind of mentioned in 508 when Gabriel kind of said that he did his own witness protection program type thing. So we get the full story of it in this episode. The whole reason why now they got a beef with each other is because in episode 519, I believe, the episode where Gabriel supposedly died by the hands of Lucifer, Loki's father Odin died in that hotel of all the different gods, and because Gabriel went back to deal with archangel business, that kind of meant like their deal was broken with Loki in his eyes. So that's why they're kind of why Loki turned against Gabriel and sold him to Asmodeus shortly afterwards. So there's that. So with the Apocalypse world, though, we find out that although he's not seen, we learn that Michael has taken his angels to the south, where the veil between worlds is thin, and he's going to use the newly revised spell that Kevin fixed to open the rift between the two worlds. Also, we see Kevin Tran being left behind as a message to Jack in order to break him and not kill him, and Kevin does this by sacrificing himself and killing a bunch of rebel soldiers with him as a way to break Jack and having him think that he can't save anybody and all that. So last scene of the episode shows Sam confronting Dean on his latest actions of doing things without him, and it was all for the sake of protecting Sam. This was done because Dean went off to go against Loki by himself. So they kind of had a huge argument kind of about it, which I'll go into later. But there's that. Tidbit wise for the episode, we have Castiel and Rowena mentioned repeatedly in this episode, and yet they're not shown. So there's that. Also, Gabriel has been planning his revenge for the last 7 years. It's how long Asmodeus had him, and during that time he was tortured every day, and his grace was fed on by Asmodeus. So there's that. We also get flashbacks of Gabriel's time in Monte Carlo before the Loki and his son sold him out to Asmodeus. So there's that. So end tally or death tally. Basically, it's Loki and his 3 sons. Gabriel called them Norse demigods. He kind of explains that they aren't later on, which I'll get into. We also get the death of Kevin Tran from the Apocalypse world, as well as a bunch of resistance or rebel soldiers from the Apocalypse world as well, because of Kevin Tran's sacrifice. So there's that. We also found out that Kevin's mom in that world was already killed long ago when the world was starting to first end, I guess you could say. So there's that. Moving on to the most shocking moments of the episode, I have to say, for me, it has to be the fact that Loki exists. This whole time, I thought it was Gabriel creating the legend of Loki so that he could hide in that reputation. I didn't think it was actually a pre-existing god, and then Gabriel just kind of took over for a time being. That surprised me there. I wasn't expecting that. So seeing both Gabriel and Loki face to face and sharing the same face, I wasn't expecting that for sure. Also, another shocking moment was the fact that Jack has wings. He has angel wings, and he uses it to protect Mary against Kevin's spell. So there's that. We see the shadow version of the wings. It has me wondering, how long has Jack had these wings? Has he always had them? Is this the first time we've seen them on screen and it just didn't notice or register to me until that moment? But there's that. So moving on to top 3 favorite moments. A huge favorite of mine has to be the fact that we got to see all these familiar faces in this episode. We got to see Gabriel returning as well as taking the form of Loki. We have Jack and Mary returning in the Apocalypse world as well as them running into Kevin. Even though it wasn't a very good end for Kevin, we still got to see him. So there's that. As a favorite, a second favorite of mine was just little bit more of the dynamic between Mary and Jack. I like that he wants to protect her. I like that she worries about him. I like the fact that she sees a bit of herself in him in regards to her when she was a young hunter. I really like the connection forging between the two of them. I like to see more of that. It'll be interesting to see how that changes when they get reunited with Sam and Dean and Castiel. If that's going to change, the dynamic between them is going to change, or if that's going to change the overall dynamic of the group. But I like that we got to see a bit of it. I like that we had Jack instinctively pulling Mary to him to protect her within his wings when the spell went off. So I really like that part as well. So there's that. Another favorite of mine has to be Sam wanting to help Gabriel get his revenge. It was great to see that Sam just wanted to help Gabriel in any way he can. I don't know if it was because he had the thought of it, well, if we help him, then he might help us type of a mindset, or if he just truly just wanted to help Gabriel, even though killing was involved. But I did like the fact that Dean pointed out to Sam that the revenge kick doesn't end well. He brought up John's whole revenge against Azazel. He brought up Dean's whole revenge along with avenging his parents' deaths, and just commenting on the fact that they know how this works. It never ends well, and it's a waste of time type of thing. So I like that was noticed and acknowledged, but I do like the fact that Sam was trying to do everything he can to kind of help Gabriel, as well as check up on Gabriel to see if he was doing okay. It was just like checking in with him. I really like that. Now moving on to my other favorite moment, it has to be the last scene, and that was Dean trying to protect Sam and being called out on it. I like that Sam confronted Dean about his actions of trying to go into things solo, and they bring up all the times that Dean has tried doing that recently, like with Dean going to the Apocalypse world with Ketch instead of with Sam. It's definitely a great thing that they had it. It brought up a lot of issues that we've had over the seasons, and it brought up a few issues I kind of forgot at times because the brothers are doing so well with working together. But I also like the fact that Dean brought up the events of the season 5 finale, in which he had front row seats to the Michael and Lucifer show, as he said, and he saw Sam die, and I like that he brought that up to Sam, saying that I don't want a repeat of that, and which understandably is why he's trying to be protective of Sam. It just sucks that they were doing so well having each other's backs, and now they're going back to old ways. But I like that things were called out. That's the main reason why it's my favorite. And also this scene, just when I was watching it, that scene in particular, again, to get the whole gist of what they were talking about, it reminded me of the whole Blaze of Glory ending that Jensen and Jared talk about if the series was ever going to end, and they can only see it as Sam and Dean both going out in a blaze of glory. And when Sam said that, well, we're going to do this together, and if we die, then we're going to do that together too. It's just a huge reminder right there. And like at that moment, it's like, so glad season 14 is confirmed, because otherwise I'd be really worried right now about the state of season 13 finale. So there's that. Moving on very quickly to top 3 peeved moments. The only peeve I really had was that when we got to see the Apocalypse world, I kind of expected that we would see Ketch and Charlie meeting up with Mary and Jack, and then having them tell them about Dean finding a way to return to them and like kind of update them. So now I'm left wondering where they are in trying to find those two, and even though we're going to update with Mary and Jack, it's just like, I kind of expected that the Apocalypse world stuff would have picked up where we left off in seeing the Apocalypse world, and that is with Ketch and Charlie. But yeah, anyways, moving on to what we'll remember most when I look back on this episode. Gabriel and Loki, for sure. 2 times the trickster fun, I guess you could say. It definitely brought up a lot of of things, cleared up a few things, and made for some very interesting fights, that's for sure. And I gotta say, because of it's one thing taking on two characters in a scene like that, but also to direct yourself as well. Richard did a very fantastic job in handling all those hurdles in one go. It's just impressive. So I'll leave it at that. But moving on to random questions very quickly. First one was, were Loki's sons really Norse demigods, or were there another creature that resembled werewolves? Because when that first one that Gabriel kills in the alleyway, he sports his fangs, he sports his claws, and stuff. So I thought werewolf before the whole Norse mythology was brought up. But then Gabriel made the comment that said that they're not really demigods. The North pantheon is its own weird thing. Think of them more like God-begotten monsters. So, what does that mean exactly? I mean, they're dead, so we don't have to worry about them. But does that mean there's going to be more of them out there claiming to be Norse demigods or the God-begotten monsters? Like, what does that entail exactly? Is my new revised question from that. And the second question being, Gabriel's obsession with sweets. We've always seen it in the past, but we always assumed it was the trickster role. So I'm wondering if that is actually something Gabriel picked up on and he has been to have a craving for sweets now, or if that truly is something he adopted to keep the Loki persona. Because we saw Loki himself with his box of lollipops all arranged in a row. So I'm just wondering, is that strictly a Loki trait that Gabriel picked up on so that he can pass as Loki, or if Gabriel kind of grew an affinity for sweets and he just likes it for himself as well. So there's that. So moving on to predictions very quickly, the timer went off as we know, but based off the promo for 1321, it looks like we get Lucifer versus Rowena. It also looks like the rift is open once again, and we see Sam, Dean, Gabriel, and Castiel all in the Apocalypse world. Just based on the background that we see in the clip. So there's that. Based off the synopsis, though, for 1321, it reads that Sam, Dean, Castiel, and Gabriel must work together if they have any hopes of bringing Mary and Jack home. Meanwhile, Rowena's encounter with Lucifer may alter the outcome of the journey for one of our heroes. That doesn't sound so good. I'm worried now, for sure. But outside all of that, any other predictions? There is only 3 more episodes left of the season. I just remembered now that there was news that Jensen was supposed to be playing another character by the end of the season. Everyone is speculating the fact that it has to be Michael that he's playing. He is Michael's true vessel. So if that's the case, if it ends up in the season 13 finale that Jensen is going to be playing Michael's new vessel, then that can mean that season 14 could be dealing with Michael in our world. So there's going to be something like that. I only hope that if that's the case, I hope it's not like we get Michael in replacement of Dean. I hope we still get to have Dean and then still have to deal with Jensen playing Michael as well. So we get 2 versions of Jensen. I'd hate to think what would happen if it's actually Michael taking possession of Dean, and that's why we get Jensen playing Michael. Because I don't want anything to happen to Dean. I do not want Michael to have Dean. No. I want to see Jensen play Michael, sure, but I don't want to see that happen if it means we lose Dean as well. So, I can't wait to see what happens next. It's 3 more episodes. Can you really believe it, guys? But otherwise, what did you guys think of the episode? What did you guys like about it? What do you think is going to happen next? Let me know in the comments down below. Love to hear your own thoughts, theories, and opinions about what you think is going to happen next. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, check my other videos if you haven't done so already. If you want, check out my Tumblr page. The link for that is down below. I read blog promos, web clips, quotes, gifs, synopses, news, all that good stuff, all found in one place. Go check that out. I am behind. I am aware of this, so I'm hoping to catch up on it soon. But everything should be there once I'm done. Also, WordPress account, everything I post online is connected to my WordPress. It's more organized, but it still needs to be updated, so keep that in mind. Also, if you want a detailed recap of the episode, a play-by-play, if you will, check out my Livejournal entry, link down below. It helps me keep things in order. Any thoughts I had during the episode, any questions that might have popped up, any reactions I might have, it's in there, as well as any detailed descriptions and quotes that I managed to track down as I watched it for the first time. If it helps you, great. But I've been doing it since season 6. I kind of want to keep going with it. So hope you check it out. But otherwise, guys, that's about it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for your patience. I hope you come back next time to see what I have to say about the next episode. But until then, this is Mel. Wish you all a great day, great week, wherever you are. Bye for now.